Alright, welcome to Greenfield Games for a 40K 6th edition battle report. Here is our table, complete with Sanford & Son 40K Junkyard. And we are doing 2 versus 2 teams. We're going to do an army of Renegade, Imp Guard, and Space Wolves versus Grey Knights. And 1,000 points of Orks. So each army is 1,000 points, 2,000 points versus 2,000 points. Let's look at the Orks first. Here's Evan's Orks.
Alright, well I got some not painted boys, shooter boys here, and a whole bunch of looters. So I have 3 squads of boys, big guns, war boss, and a orc flyer.
Alright, a flyer, and then that's going to team up with Grey Knights over here. Dan's Grey Knights look like...
We got our Dread Knight back here, Land Raider with the Brotherhood Champion. Brotherhood Champion's rolling with a Strike Squad, and they also have the Grey Knight Terminators that are a troop choice.
Terminators. My Renegade Guard, let's see, I have a platoon blob squad. So there's the company commander, Voxcaster, sniper, las cannon team. The blob squad is 10 men with a flamer, 10 men with heavy bolter, 10 men with heavy bolter and Vox. Throwing down an Aegis defense line with quad gun, 2 Lehman Russ battle cannons and las cannon, and 10 men squad of veterans with 2 melters and a plasma and a chimera, and gonna run this little model here as Marbo. And then over here is the Space Wolves. What do we have? Space Wolves looks like long fangs. Are these WYSIWYG long fangs here?
Yeah, WYSIWYG
plasma, missile, las cannon, and then just more long fangs, missile, plasma.
Except Marnie's Calgary is actually a plasma.
Oh, Marnie's Calgary is subbing in as a plasma guy with the las cannon next to him. Scouts. What's the squad called again? I never.
The squad in the Rhino is Grave Hunters.
Grey Hunters in a Rhino. And Grey Hunters in a drop pod is going to be the allies to this Renegade Guard here. We're doing mission number 1, the Crusade, and the Vanguard Strike corner edges, or this corner versus that corner deployment zone. And we'll be back when we have it all deployed out. Okay, here is the deployment.
That's really cool.
On the Vanguard Strike, we got the Orks lined up all along here. The looters, I believe, here. The big guns here. Boys here. The Grey Knights are, what's the Strike Squad is in the Land Raider, and the Terminators and the Dread Knight are going to deep strike. Here's our deployment here. We got, what are these, Grey Hunters, correct?
Yep, with my Rune Priest.
With the Rune Priest in the Rhino. This vet squad in the Chimera has meltas and plasma. Tank here, long fangs here, Aegis defense line, and platoon. The blob platoon is holding this objective here. Got some more long fangs here, quad gun, and that's the deployment. There's a big look at the board. Merle, you're rolling hot dice. Roll and see if you can seize the initiative.
Oh, he wasted 6 earlier.
You never know. You never know.
Seize the initiative.
What?
This is your fault.
Seize the initiative.
6, son.
And we are going to be back with Imp Guard and Space Wolves seizing the initiative. Master plan. Okay, that was the end of turn 1 for Imp Guard and Space Wolves. It was night fighting, and that made it very difficult. Some firing from this Lehman Russ, and from, I believe, from this squad of Long Fangs. In total, killed 1, 2, 3, 4 boys over here. And then some firing from, I believe, this Lehman Russ here, and the quad gun. Killed just 1 looter over there. And then Psychic power from the Rune Priest was denied by the Orks, and the drop pod came down here, and the Space Wolves got out and shot into the Orks, who were in cover partially, but killed 4 Orks here. And that's going to be the end of our turn 1. We'll be back with Grey Knight and Orc turn 1. Okay, at the end of turn 1 for the Orcs and Grey Knights. Let's see, a bunch happened. Orcs kind of consolidated and pulled back a little bit on that objective. Dumped fire into the Longfangs here from, I believe, I don't even remember. I think these shoot
the big guns.
The big guns killed 1. Land Raider moved forward, popped out Grey Knights, and they assaulted the Rhino and exploded it and killed, I think, 1 or 2 Space Wolves. I think one Space Wolf died here. And then this combat started over here. Space Wolf and Orc combat ended up in a tie. 4 soldiers died on each side, ending up in a tied combat. And that is about it. We'll be back with turn 2 for the Imp Guard and Space Wolf. Yeah. Alright, the end of Guard Space Wolf turn 2. Bunch of fire from the Lehman Russ.
Is he assaulting?
And this Lehman Russ dumped fire into the Ludas and did enough wounds, killed enough guys, and caused them to lose leadership and run off the table. That also, let's see, some fire from these long fangs, I think, killed a few guys over here. Some ineffective shooting throughout the Blob Squad. The Chimera moved forward and dropped 2 Meltas into the Land Raider, destroyed a las cannon and did 2 hull points. And then the Space Wolves over here continued the assault with the Orcs. They won the combat. Orcs ran and they overran the Orcs over here. And this Rune Priest and the Justicar did a challenge combat, and they were locked in combat, but the Space Wolves here won combat, and I think you killed them outright, right?
Yeah, killed them outright.
Killed the Grey Knights outright. And that is the end of our turn 2. Going to be doing the Grey Knight and Orc turn 2, and it's looking like Dread Knight just came in, and we'll be back with more of the game. Alright, we're going to end here at the end of Orc and Grey Knight turn. Dread Knight came down but was unable to do anything. The War Boss tried to Flamer Marbo but then charged him and killed him. The Orcs called the Wog, and the plane came on and only was able to do like 2 wounds. One wound to these Grey Knights. So they would have held that objective. It's anybody's guess where the game would have gone. Still had 2 squads of boys and the Dread Knight and the plane. So it's really tough to say where the game would have gone from here, but that's how it ended up. We got to close up because the shop is closing. But that was just a fun little 2 versus 2 game. Any highlights, guys? Let's see. This is always a highlight when it comes on. Beautifully painted. The Wog was not as powerful as it usually is. And that's just kind of where it's at. Not really able to tell you who won the game this time, but still had fun pushing the models around the board.
I was just wondering if you guys were...
So we'll wrap up and be bringing you more battle reports from Greenfield Games here at Greenfield Games in Greenfield, Mass. Keep watching the channel and subscribing and leaving comments. That's how it left up. Thanks.